Hey there, and welcome to the behind the scenes of the Rustic Songbird Podcast. I'm Lydia Walker from rusticsongbird.com, and I'm taking you behind the scenes of an interview on the podcast. I hope you enjoy this video, but before we get started, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you enjoy topics like this, we have new podcast episodes coming out every single week, and the behind the scenes will be here on this YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Also, if you enjoy this show, consider becoming a patron and supporting Rustic Songbird on Patreon. You can check out all the details at patreon.com/rusticsongbird. All right, let's get into today's show. My guest on the show today is my good friend, Tobias. He is here to talk about single release strategy, and he has an awesome plan for coming out with a new single every single month in 2021. And when he told me that, I thought, oh, we got to get you back on the show. He has been on the show before, but he's coming back. He's got new music coming, and we're going to talk all about it and give some encouragement, some advice, some inspiration. So Tobias, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on again. It's exciting.
This is so cool because I used to have a radio show way back, like 8 or 9, 10 years ago. And we've gone way back. We've been friends for a long time. And Tobias was on my radio show back in the day. And I ended up stopping that radio show, took a break for a few years, got married, had a baby, decided to start a podcast for songwriters. And even way back then, doing a radio show, I thought I want to bring this back as a podcast, but make it more specific for songwriters, just because that's who I am. I knew I'd always be writing songs because of the expression and just my heart for creating music, and all the amazing people that have come across like over the years, just through gigging and singing at churches and events and coffee houses. And you were there. Sometimes you were the only person there at a lot of my concerts. It's just amazing.
Be there. You're incredible. I was like, the fact that you even noticed that I was like, oh, I'm a fan. I'm like that fan. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely show up. So yeah.
You have been so supportive. I mean, I used to do monthly music nights at Chick-fil-A, and you would come and sing with me. We would do some shows together. So we go way back, and I'm so proud of you for continuing on with music. And I've been so inspired by you because you'll just stop everything and start singing. And it doesn't matter who's around. You don't care what people think. And that has been really cool just to watch you. And your voice has gotten so much better just from the experience and growing and maturing. And now you're putting out music as an artist, as an artist named Tobias. And I'm just so proud of you. So I want to talk all about it. But really quick, share a little bit of your story of how you got to this point as a musician, why you got into singing worship and what that's looked like for you.
Yeah. So short synopsis is just like, I was always very passionate about singing. I think I told you last time in the last podcast, couldn't really do it very well. And so I got interested enough to finally ask my mom to get me lessons, went to Austin Peay State University, had some lessons. And all of that was spurred a year after I actually came to God and broke down and gave him my life and everything. And so after that, the passion just led my gift to continue to grow. And I have researched, I've had lessons, and just it's been a constant journey for any singer. And my heart obviously wanted to sing for God, like once I kind of made that transition. And so now, actually 4 years ago, I ventured out to start doing music. I think around that time I came to visit you, and we just sang outside of off the exit. We sang outside of a.
Yeah, we were outside of Panera Bread, and it was cold outside, and we just like sang Oceans and did a Facebook Live. We did that several times where we showed up and did a Facebook Live singing together. Yeah, singing worship. That's so awesome.
It was
and you
wonderful.
Just would go for it. I love that.
I love it too. I still do. I wish I was still in that mode. I guess I'm like trying to protect my voice, so I'm trying to sing less, but at the same time, I definitely love that. And so I was gonna go and pursue music then, and when I moved to go and do it, like I had all these words and these promises and these things from God, and it's like I got there and I was all excited. And day 3 of me being there, like everything had worked out. The Lord had blessed me with just so much. I could go into it, but I'll do it another time. And got there, and my voice went away 3 days later. And I was just like, it was like for like 7 months. I think I explained this a little bit last time as well. And then for the past 4 years, I've been losing like every other week, and it's just been real like shallow and raspy, and couldn't get any volume, and just really off pitch. And so about a month and a half ago, after some people prayed, I had some girl give prophecy, and that was a week later, the last time I lost my voice, and I've been there for like a month and a half, and I'm so like, I don't even know, I can't even explain it. I'm overwhelmed the fact that God is actually bringing that part of his faithfulness out in my life, and so my voice is back for the first time
Yes,
in 4 years,
and
like
the
fully.
Lord's timing is so perfect. And so
Yes,
your voice was going in and out for
yeah,
so
for
long, and you
almost four
were
years.
planning to go for music, planning to record, and then your voice was gone. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
I
what do
have
you
so
do
many
now?
songs. Exactly. Yeah, it was
But
really frustrating.
sometimes the Lord allows us to go through those things so he can show his perfect timing and his
Yes.
healing. And I believe that you are healed and that now is the time to be putting out music. And
Yeah.
uh, I'm just so excited for what's coming out. You're building out your own studio and
Yes.
recording and really just taking it up
Yes.
to the next level. And it's really cool to see you producing your own stuff as well.
Yeah.
So,
And
what inspired you to put out a song a month in this
well,
next year? Because that's a big endeavor. Let's talk
so
about like what led up to that
so
decision.
let me piece together why I told that backstory. I actually was going to go to say that like back then when that happened, people would ask me, it was like, "Oh, you're a singer? What can I hear some of your stuff?" And I'd just be like, haven't done anything yet. It broke me. So it just brought me to this place of opportunity. I try not to look at only the deficit, what can happen after in the future and stuff. And so it was kind of a promise I made to myself that when I got my voice back, I was gonna start doing that. And
Hmm.
back in July, I still hadn't had it back fully, but one of my friends spoke to me and she was like, Tobias, you just need to stop treating it like a hobby. And if this is what you want to do, like dive in, like jump in, know the Lord's gonna provide. If he's calling you to something, he'll do that. And so it's kind of like a Joseph full circle moments, only like divided
Yeah,
by
that's what I was just thinking.
yeah,
How
yeah,
you're kind
like
of in the background for a long time, and those promises and things that have been prayed over
yeah,
you take a while, like years, to come to the
yes.
forefront and actually come to pass.
Yes, because I've been pursuing it for 10 years, but Joseph went through his season of promise, then absolutely the opposite for about 40. So divided by 10, like 4 years, and so I'm like, okay, well, this is the time then. And I think God just spoke to me through that, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and it was honestly just one of those, okay, how am I going to do it? Lord, speak to me. Okay, I'm just going to work and just watch you speak as I go. And I started to just be like, okay, I'll do it once a month. And then the 21 is, I was born on July 21st, and that's 3/7. And so 21 is just a special number to me. And so I was like, I'm going to release on the 21st of each month. And that was actually going to be starting back in September. But, snags, roadblocks, nervousness and lack of experience, all of that started hitting me. And I was like, maybe October, what, maybe November. Okay, now it's looking more like January. Yeah, then start the new year off. And so, with those things, it kind of just, I think, worked out in God's divine, purpose, because like you said, 2021, I'm releasing it on the 21st of each month. I was like,
Yes, I thought that was the whole point. I got a message with you saying, "Okay, I'm going to start in January and it's going to be the 21st of every month." I was like,
yeah.
"That is such a cool idea for 2021." And you said, "I hadn't even thought about that." How perfect is that? The Lord lined it up. It wasn't even part of the original plan, but you just liked
Exactly.
the number 21, and that's, your birthday, and it has special meaning to
Yes.
you. So, it's really cool how all of that is coming together and aligning, and that's something that I think it's really important to just put a date on something, because
Yes.
so many musicians and
Yes.
artists say, well, maybe
I'm gonna.
January, or I'll think about it here, or it might be coming out. It's like, no, you have to give yourself a
A
deadline to make it
definite.
happen. And it's
Exactly.
amazing. I've heard people say over and over that, if you have 2 weeks to do something, it'll take 2 weeks. If you have 2 days, it's going to take 2 days. So
Mm.
whatever deadline that you give yourself,
Wow, that's
it's
good.
going to happen. Like that's
That's good.
going to kick you into high gear to be able to get it done in time. And so just to put the date out there and say, January 21st, song's going to come out. And then February
Yeah.
21st, song's going to come out. Then your fans know to expect that. And then they're waiting for it. It builds hype over and over. And it has
Yes.
this like snowball effect. So that's a really, really cool thing. I wanted you to come
It's a
on at
powerful
the
nugget.
beginning of this so people can watch you. I want people to
Yeah.
go on Instagram
Wow.
to Tobias Inspiration and watch what he posts, watch his songs, watch the response. Like, you could take this as a case study, as another musician, as
Yes.
another singer, and just watch what happens. Like, what kind of things are people commenting? What is he posting? What's working? And
Yes.
just kind of see what takes off. I think it's so fascinating to watch people and learn from it, because things are constantly changing with social
Yeah.
media. Things are changing
All
so
the
much in
time.
the streaming music world, and things that worked a year ago may not work now. So we
True.
have to test things. We have to try something and see if it works, and then do more of that. So that's such
Yes.
a cool strategy. And I just love your commitment to say once a month, song's going to come out. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So tell me your thoughts on like your
So
release schedule and getting it
so
together once a month.
back when I first started this, because I was going to be doing music videos with these acoustic releases. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm excited for that now. I didn't know there were music videos coming too.
Yes, with
Yes, do
featuring.
it.
So I because I had to do all of that and I was starting off from scratch. I knew it was acoustic, so it wasn't going to be as complicated, obviously, as going into a studio and doing full productions. But I knew it was going to
Right.
take some time,
That's
and
smart.
especially
Keep it
going to
simple.
different locations. Exactly. And so I was like, okay, I'll put it a month after each other. So while I'm releasing one, I'm still working on the next one. I'll get it out. Of
Yeah.
course, that was when I was going to start like that month, and then the next month it was going to supposedly fall in place. And so putting it out 3 months later obviously was a wise strategic decision. But
Yeah.
so when I decided on January, it kind of put more space for me to get everything done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but also I realized the reason I actually initially started putting it back was I had to do promotions. And so I'm figuring out that whole promotions thing. I even have you as a friend that's been advising me
Absolutely.
like that, as far as posting like a week ahead, and stuff like that, to get the information out there and get people following what's going on. And then I have another friend. She's an artist in Columbus. She's been doing full-time artistry for about 3 years. And so she's bumped her head like 8 million times. She's had to figure it out from scratch. And actually, when she was younger, she was signed to Sony. So she's seen a lot of the background for stuff, but like it's been a long time and she had to do it herself this time. And so she's always giving me advice and tips, and like things to kind of just figure out on my own that a lot of people just wait for somebody else to tell them or hope that somebody's just going to discover. She's like, no, just find out exactly how to do that yourself and be your own team. And it kind of
Mm-hmm.
it inspires me to push myself past where I even thought I would ever even be able to do that.
Yeah. It's so cool to have insight from people that are doing the same thing or are a few steps ahead, so they can tell you like what to look out for or things you might not even know to look up. You
Yes,
might not
yeah,
have thought about a certain way to promote or a certain way to do
yeah,
something, but now that's on your radar and you can research more on
yes,
your own, or you could try different things, see which one is the best fit for you. And it's not like a cookie cutter plan. It's not like everybody has to do it the same way.
yeah,
And if you're starting from scratch, like you can try a lot of different things and
yeah,
just see what takes off with your specific audience. And for
yes,
you, you've been very consistent with singing worship songs, with
yeah,
putting stuff, especially on Instagram. You've put a lot of stuff on Instagram, going live, doing IGTVs, reels,
yeah,
stories, and you show up and sing on video.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
people know your voice, they know your look and your sound. And so you coming out as an artist and writing your own songs, I think it's just a natural progression for that. It's not going to
Yes,
be something that they don't see coming. People are
exactly,
waiting
exactly.
and they're ready. They're
Right,
like, when are
right.
you going to release something so we can download it and stream it and share it and
Yes.
watch the music video? I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Oh my God.
cool.
So good. The funny thing is, I got even more energized when I started like, oh my God, this is happening and this is actually working. Or when I got out of the studio and I was doing like just the acoustic sounds, I was like, this is actually sounding how I wanted it to without all the extra background vocals. Because honestly, the full production stuff intimidates me a little bit more because I don't know how to translate all that out of my head. But for me knowing how to my song sounds with the guitar, I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that's supposed to sound like. So it's just the sound, everything coming together is really making that a more passionate area for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think bringing it down, keeping it simple to an acoustic thing is going to make it more manageable for a
yeah,
monthly release like
yes,
that. And also you can always build, you could release that song as a full production later on. Like if it takes off and people are loving it, you could come out with
yeah.
a full studio version of it, a full production
So that
band.
That's
singers, all of it.
you're actually in the plan right now. That's actually the
Oh,
strategic.
it's part of the plan. Okay,
That's part of the
tell
plan.
me your thoughts of like how this
So
could grow.
okay, so the way I actually have it planned and functioning, like I said, with the full production, because I didn't know all this audio engineering side of it either yet, I was going to be using a different producer, and obviously that takes money. So I knew full productions were going to be something I needed to like have the funds to do. And
Yeah.
so I ended up putting that back, but I didn't like dismiss it. So I put it back. It was initially when I was starting in September, going to be 7 months from September, but from since I'm releasing my first acoustic single in July, it's going to be 7 months from July. I'm giving myself a deadline to get all 5 songs, studio produced. So I use this 3 months to get
Yay.
it out
Awesome.
on the acoustic videos, and then in 7 months, my deadline to get them all studio full production done was July. So 7 months. So yeah,
Oh, I love that.
it's gonna be an EP. So it's gonna be releases
Yes.
each single, and it's gonna be a full EP in July.
Oh, so cool. I'm so excited. I did not know this progression here, but I
Yeah,
love that
yeah,
idea. I've heard several artists talk about this as a strategy to release one song, then a month or two later, release another song, then another song, releasing them as singles, working up to an album or an EP. So releasing them all on a project, whether it's 5 songs. But you have all that hype building up. Like if people
yeah,
love one song, they'll love the others too.
yeah.
And so it just like builds and builds and builds. And then you can say, hey, here they are all together on one project. And
Exactly.
like you said, you can add stuff to that. You can make it a studio thing. You could make videos,
Yes.
make new things to come out with the EP release. So this is cool how each one builds on each other.
And I feel like God is like filling in cracks as I'm going and just giving me different ideas. And I think as long as we have some type of vision and we're going towards something, the other pieces kind of fall in line. And I feel like what was stopping me a lot is I was like, how am I going to do all this at once? You know what I mean? Instead of being like, okay, God's going to handle the particulars. I just need to go for it. I need to launch out. I need to do a Peter and step out on the water to see how this actually comes out to be. If God's calling me to it, if God is,
Mhm.
if I've asked him and he said, yeah, come on, come on out. Just kind of seeing his faithfulness in doing the fillers and teaching me as I go. And so that's, I think it's all about starting.
Yeah, yeah,
So
taking
yeah,
action. I mean, you have the ideas, you've got the talent, you've got the willpower to go for it, but
yeah,
there's something to be said about just starting and figuring it
yes,
out as you go. And none of
yeah,
us know all the answers. Like you said, if you're working with a team, then everybody does something. But if you're the only one, if you're the independent musician, like you're
yeah.
wearing all the hats, you're doing all the things, and there's stuff that you just won't know until you get into it.
Until
And
you,
then you realize, oh, okay, I need to do some more research on this, or okay, this isn't going to work like I thought, but now I need
yes,
to pivot and change and tweak some things. And you won't know until you're like in the weeds, like in the thick of it,
yes,
and it happens. And then you're like, okay, now we'll adjust and adjust and adjust. It's kind of like
yeah,
driving, like you're steering that wheel. It's like, oh, go to the right a little bit, now to the left. Like
yeah,
we're gonna get back on the straight and narrow here.
yes.
But a lot of times it can go in a totally different direction than what you initially thought, but you wouldn't have known all those things without starting.
Exactly. And I've come to this place to where I'm just like, why not? Why not do it? Like, why not? The only way to really fail is to give up and not do it. You know what I mean? And so if I'm going forward toward whatever my dream is or what I feel like God has called me to, then I'm being successful every day. And
Yeah.
so it's teaching me just to be like, why not? Why there's a lot of reasons why I feel like it could fail, but why not take the risk? Why not go and do and be the best person I can be and just achieve? And so it's teaching me through the process, and I've definitely been energized and found out things about myself that I didn't know I could think about or even do, or even like buying my studio equipment. For some reason that was such a huge thing to me. I was like, oh my God, like I gotta buy, I don't even know what to buy. And it's really like a Google search and then asking around, hey, what's the best, or who do I go to for this? And it was really simple, and my brain like overcomplicated that process.
Yes, I think we all do that.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of speak to the people as well, like right now, that like have a feeling of just like defeatedness, and like feeling like you taking steps forward and then like taking 8 steps back and stuff. I feel like we all go through that, and I really feel like in those moments, as long as you keep going, my whole message, I guess, that I've gotten for myself from God is that I just got to keep going, whatever that means, however that looks. Even if it's just one baby step here and one baby step there, those things matter, and little is much but God. We it was like 2 fish and 5 loaves. It's the small things that God can make into so much, and it's the foolish things of the world that confound the people that think they know exactly this formula and stuff like that. And He can use a lot just by you using your little faith and believing in Him and just taking that step. So just wanted to encourage whoever's feeling like that, just keep going, just do it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I believe the Lord can multiply it. And when you have a calling on your life and the Lord's purposes behind it, and you want to glorify God with your music, He's going to honor that. And it might look different than what you thought, but even if one person hears it and it helps them, or it puts a smile on their face, or it inspires them to keep going, like, it's so worth it. And what's going to happen is that's going to happen one at a time, over and over and over, because everybody that hears that song is going to hear the anointing on your voice and like your heart behind writing the song. And it's so special just to give your fans and your followers and your audience something to support you with. You can say, hey, go listen to my song, go download my song, like whatever you ask them to do. It gives them a chance to support you because they already love you, they're already following you and want to see you do well. But you have to take the step of faith to put it out there.
Yes.
And like you said, it can be scary when you're like, is anybody going to listen to this? What are people going to think? You have to get past that and just put it out there, because you have no way of knowing before you take the leap and
I
give them a chance.
Even with Lydia's songs, like even with your songs, Lydia, like the my favorite being
Go Where You Send Me. That's the one you always send me that you're listening to.
And I literally, and I've been at work and I've just wept, and just like it's taken me through some wonderful moments with God, and really just trusting Him and being willing. And that's really my heart. So it like resonated so much with me that, I mean, honestly, I feel like my life would be at a deficit without it. And so we never know what's going to impact that. What God has, not we have put in us, what God has put in us.
Right.
Literally be the thing that was meant for somebody else. And if we're not putting it out, then we're kind of doing a disservice, to the next people. And so it's a blessing to just take that leap of faith and just trust that it's going to do something wonderful for somebody. And so I thank you again. I always say that, but like that song, I probably, when we get off of here, I'm going to listen to it again. But I just
now that we've talked about it.
Exactly.
And that song was given to me like at 2:00 in the morning. I was at a worship conference with songwriters, and I never stay up that late. And it's like I was wide awake, and the Lord just gave me this song, and I was writing it down as fast as I could. And a friend of mine helped me write the bridge of it, and it was such a blessing, like really different than anything I've created too. And so it was just a gift. The Lord just gave it to me.
That's why it was for me, because I stay up until the wee hours of the night.
So he's like, this is for Tobias at 2 a.m. I love it.
But and I'm thoroughly blessed by things like that. So it's, like I said, inspired me to take that leap of faith. And like you said, I haven't figured out every nook and cranny. I have resources. The one thing that the Lord is wisening me up to is not, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have what it takes. It's more like, okay, no, stop sitting there and go and Google, go and ask your friend who's
Google's amazing.
Right. YouTube, ask your friend who's already been in that process. The reason I don't have resources sometimes is because I don't ask. You have not because you ask not, And
that's so good. That's a great point.
Exactly.
I've thought about the same thing. I've heard of people saying, instead of, thinking I don't have the resources, think, well, what resources do I have? Who do I know who knows this? Who do I know who has done this before? I need to go ask them and go like seek and research and Google things, watch YouTube tutorials, and then you'll know. It's like the information is out there. It's just what you do with it.
It's there. And it's like it might not be how we want it, because, all of us, we want $1 million to fall on our lap, or we want somebody to come and just teach us it all at one point and just offer it. But things take effort, and, nothing that's worth it in life is going to be that technically easy, there's no effort. And so it's wonderful to have, and then it's almost something you appreciate even more. Asking you questions.
You will.
Like, what, dang, I didn't know that for like 5 years. I could have just called you. It's something that God has, I really feel like he's literally equipped us with everything we need in our surroundings. He just wants us to put the effort forth and go and kind of seek it out. And you have so much content and resources. Like Lydia, you have the things on your website, you have all this stuff, and you're always you're a well of knowledge in that way. And for me to be like, oh, well, I just don't know, it would be like lazy. It's like, just go ask your friend.
Call Lydia.
God is like, I'm not brushing your teeth for you, Tobias. I know you want me to, but you're getting older, you know, and it's just
Like, I'm
wonderful.
going to give you the tools. Here's the toothbrush and here's the toothpaste and here's the water. You have to put it together and actually do the effort of brushing your teeth, right? Yeah, and it's like that. It's part of a habit. It's a routine. It's like
Yeah.
you show up, you get better, you practice.
Yeah, it's like
And
that child
all
that
those little
cries
things in
about
the
it.
background that have to be done to get you to that point of being ready.
Exactly. It's like that child that cries because they have to brush their teeth. Like, I don't want, because they're tired and they're sleepy in the morning. You're like, if you don't brush your, God
Right.
is just like, go ahead. You have what it takes. And He wants to kind of show us what's there inside of us. And so for me, like through this whole process, I mean, I've had down days. I've had days where I've done nothing because I've just been like, ugh. And it's not easy, you know, to push through my own psychological blocks or my own feelings of,
Mm,
that I have to, I've been learning things about myself. Like, I don't
yeah.
know that I'm worth a lot of that. You know what I mean? And so it has self-worth things that God is teaching me a lot. And so um and it ties into confidence. You know what I mean? All of
Mm-hmm.
it comes full circle. And so it's been teaching me a lot. And so anyway, the January release is January 21st, and I feel like I'm really excited for that one. And then it gives me time for the next one to promote and be like, if y'all like that song, check out, you know what I mean? And it's so
Mm-hmm.
cool. I don't think there's anything else in my life that I would rather do through whatever that means, even if that means while I'm doing music, I get a side job that I don't really like. You know, I'm doing what I love, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
before it was just, I was living comfortable in my career and I was like, oh, I got money and stuff, but I was like dying inside because I'm like, there's all of this other stuff that I just am not doing. And it
And
took
you have
this.
such a gift. I don't know anybody who sings and has, that combination of your personality and your love for God. And it's just very, very special. It's very unique.
Oh,
I don't
bless
know
you.
anyone else like that.
Oh,
You're one of a kind.
I am definitely honored and humbled by that statement. No, I really appreciate that. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's overdue. Like I would be at my like I said at my job. I don't know if anybody knows that's listening right now, but I normally work as a sleep technologist in hospitals and stuff, and I travel with that. And I just sing to all of my patients, or I would sing to my coworkers. And I'm constantly singing, and they'd be like, "Why are you not?" You know, just doing. I'd be like, I don't know, because all of these mental, psychological things that told me I'm not enough, like a Moses moment, like God's calling me
Mm,
to it, but I'm like, oh, I'm not like this person, or I can't do this. And really, with the vocal stuff, it's about asking questions and researching too, and just putting your mind to it, because I found a lot of the things that I felt like were roadblocks were just, hey, go and research some more and be intentional about that time you're putting into it. And yeah, I was doing a lot, but there's always more to do. And it's not about like working yourself to death, but really just in those moments, just where I would go and watch a series for 8 hours, I'm now utilizing that time to go and look up a YouTube video. And in that moment, I'm just like, oh my God, I've been trying to figure out how to do that forever. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so just being intentional, it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful
I'm
thing.
glad you brought that up because you decided to get serious
Yeah.
and to really commit. I think
Yes.
that's a big step to get started. You have to commit and say, I'm going for it. I'm going to
Yeah.
figure this out. I'm going to do what I have to do, get the time in, the practice in, put in the effort, and you just have to like get to that point. So it seems
Yes.
like you made it to that shift of saying, okay, I've been waiting long enough. Now's the time to go for it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, friends, people, God speaks. He's been teaching me so much. The way he speaks is so beautiful. I used to always be like, oh God, why not an audible voice like on Mount Sinai? You know, like why not this? And you know, you kind of want to put him on this platform of humanity. And he's like, I'm so much deeper than that. I'm so much more than
Mm,
that. And I'm so much more than that for you and everyone else. Like, I want to show you, I can speak to you through your emotions. I can speak to you through your thoughts. I can speak through a person that you don't know. I can speak through what you looking up at the sky. Like, I want you to know me in all my infinite ways. And it's just this beautiful call to just understanding his voice. And I just been like, that last time he spoke to me right before I took this leap was through a 19-year-old I met randomly in Illinois, who just saw my gift, saw what I was actually worth, and really just started living for God a year ago, and was like, TJ, what are you doing? Just the Lord is going to provide for you. The Lord, just trust, look at him. Don't look at all the other stuff that's an obstacle. Don't look at how big Goliath is. Don't look at the fact that a nation's against you. Look at God and go with that. Like, go forth in that. He's going to do that. He's going to go before you. And it empowered me to really think for a day. And then I was like, you know what? I'm walking on water tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that pumps you up and like
yeah,
makes you realize that God's got this and he's gone
exactly.
before you and he's the one that's put you in this position at this time to do this thing, and you just have to step out in faith
Yes,
and go for it and leave the outcome to him.
exactly. And so I've been walking in that way every single day, even on the days, on my down days. I'm like, okay, God, I launched out to do this though, and I'm just gonna keep it going. I'm gonna, if I fail one day and don't do all the things that I want to do, or I'm not as intentional as I want to, I don't let that beat me up. I'm just like, you know what, God, you called me to this, and nothing I do or don't do, unless I just give up, is gonna stop it. And so I'm just gonna keep going and trust that you knew what you were doing and you knew what you were calling me to. And so I'm finding wonderful things in the process, and I'm growing, and my voice came back in the process. Like, who would have thought?
Yes.
It wasn't before it happened. I was still having that issue, but once I looked at my issue and was like, God, you're greater than that. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that comes against the people of God? Like,
Preach.
I took my little 3 smooth stones or 5 smooth
Mm-hmm.
stones, and I just ended up taking the giant down, and the Lord fought for me. And now something that I didn't even know was possible, my voice coming back fully for almost 2 months now. I'm like, what? And I've been able to practice for the past 4 years. It's been really debilitating because I haven't been able to practice. And every time I did, I would lose my voice the next day. And I was just like, this is like, what in the world? But I was like, the realization is God is for me. And I think maybe me taking that leap was what it took as well, anything. So I'm elated.
It's so exciting to watch the process. And so I wanted to get you on here to talk about it in the middle of the process, because literally
Yeah.
your first song's about to come out. And so it's not like I've brought you on like after you've released multiple singles in a row. I'm like, let's talk about your
Right.
plan for this and just kind of like your thought process at this point when you're about to put it out, because I do believe big things are going to happen for you and that it's going to go really far. And so
I'm
I
starting
wanted
to
to
believe
document
the
this for you.
same. I'm starting to believe the same. And it's so weird because before I was like, oh yeah, God. And I was just kind of waiting fully on him instead of partnering with him. And it was like okay, God, when are you going to do this? When is this going to fall in place? Why am you're speaking all these prophecies? I don't see anything. He's like, okay, move, just take a step. And then I'll show you the rest as you go, leave your house, leave your home, Abraham, or Abram. And so
Wow.
I now can see and feel, even through the process of my low days, like people will step up and they'll just be like, yo, you're doing what? Or do you see the God in you? Do you see this wonderful ability you have? Like, why are you doubting yourself? Like, it'll be like God will be speaking through people, like, rise up, like don't let your everything beat you down right now. You're doing good, keep going, just like patting you on the back. And so, yes, I appreciate you inviting me for that. That it's a process, and I definitely, like I said, don't have it all figured out. I'm trying to use DistroKid and CD Baby to get or figuring out which one really, because I've been
Oh,
researching.
deciding. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
I heard.
similar. It's like either one
Well,
to get your
DistroKid,
music out there.
I heard DistroKid, you have where it gives you more money at the end, but they're only for basically like online distribution, so they're not necessarily not gonna be like a CD copy in a store and stuff like that. They don't really have that
Mm-hmm.
option, and each of them have their pros and cons, but one of them is like doing more for you in streaming as far as the money you get from it. And so I'm like, with just the few factors that I found, I'm like, and that's been a hold up. It's weird. It's like the
Yeah, you could
smallest
go
things.
either
It's
way,
like,
really. Like they basically do the same thing, and there's pros and cons depending on what you want out of it. Like what you're
right.
going for, like you said, with all digital streaming, or if you want the other features. Like I've used CD Baby for a long time on a lot of different albums, and I've also heard good things about DistroKid. It's a newer platform, but I have heard good things from friends of
Right.
mine that have released singles. So I think it's
Yeah.
worth looking into and seeing which one's the best
And
for you. But at
is
the end
it
of the day, you just
weird?
have to choose
I
and pick
know,
one.
isn't it weird? Like, that's been like a roadblock for me for like a week and a half. I've been like, I don't know which one. And it's like something so small. It's like so
And you can
basic.
go back and forth. One cool thing I thought about was you could release singles through DistroKid and then
Mm,
release your EP through CD Baby. You could use
hmm.
both for different projects, or,
And see how it works. Almost
test each one.
exactly like almost like social media in that way. Yeah, I guess I got to make it like I said, not as big in my head. You know what I mean? In my head, it's like, oh my God, what if I go with this one? It's just not enough. It's just like weird stuff like that.
You
So
can always make changes. It's not permanent. You can re-release something. If you own everything, then you just have the files. You could upload them to both if you want, or just like
I was
take it
thinking that. I was
down
like,
and
is that
switch.
illegal? Can I just do both? Like, I was like, But yeah, that's
like, why not? Yeah, that's a cool thing though, just to know you can pick one and then just go for it, see if you like it, and you can always change later. So I think that's a good way to do it. Before we wrap up here, tell me some inspirational thoughts you have for our listeners who are wanting to put out singles, who are wanting to release their own music for the first time. If someone's just now looking at it, I wanted to hear like your perspective on it at this point in the process.
Okay, so I can speak from my personal testimony, the things that God is bringing me through. That the only thing that stops us is us. Ultimately, we have the enemy of our souls, but the Bible really tells us that we're not ignorant of his devices, and we're not subject to him. We have dominion in the earth if we're a child of God, and so we cast those things aside and we just kind of look at ourselves and see the roadblocks and the strongholds, and God's truth makes us free. So spending time with God and just being motivated through his word that I can do this, and he goes before us and he's with us and he cares so much about us and about the things that he's put in us to impact this world. He's made us lights, city set on a hill that cannot be hid. And so to really launch out in that faith that he's already kind of calculated everything, and his plans for us, his thoughts toward us are peace, good and not evil, to give us that expected end. To just really launch out and trust that, really launch out and be like, okay, I don't have it all figured out. I don't know. I'm really weak in this area, but knowing in that weakness, his strength is made perfect as well, and that he'll make it all work out. And so my encouragement to the listeners is just do it. Like, start, go for it, trust God in that, and really ask questions. Look for, like Lydia said, not what I don't have, but what do I have as a resource? What can I do? Who can help me in my sphere of influence? And just kind of don't let it overwhelm you. Just do one thing at a time. If it's that first statement, like I just said, just start. Or if you've already started and it's been like, okay, where do I go from here? Start to look at your resources. And if you're already doing that and you're doing everything we've already talked about in this, I just want to tell you, keep going and just really trust that it will work out. And also set dates. That's the biggest thing. Like, set dates.
Put it on the calendar or it's not going to happen.
It's not. It won't.
That's really good encouragement and advice today. Thanks for sharing some of your perspective and encouragement. Also, I want to let people know how they can connect with you and watch what you're doing, listen to the new music. So what's the best way to connect with you online?
Okay, so currently it'll be Instagram. Tobias Inspiration is my handle. TOBIASINSP.
Inspiration.
Tobias
I Inspiration.
Cannot spell that right now. Why am I struggling? Anyway, but yeah, Tobias Inspiration on Instagram, and then Facebook is Tobias space B dot space Tisdale space Junior.
Tobias B. Tisdale Jr. on Facebook.
Yes.
So they can follow you on Facebook, on Instagram at Tobias Inspiration.
In January, you will be able to go to my website, tobiasinspiration.com. And,
that's exciting. New website.
Yes, new website launching, and it'll have merch and things of that nature as well. So stay tuned.
So proud of you. That's amazing. Congratulations on the new music coming out, and can't wait to watch and cheer you on. So thanks for being on the show to talk about it today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you for your invitation. It means a lot.
Real quick, I want to say a big thank you for watching this behind the episode here on the YouTube channel. And I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel for more topics like this coming soon. We have new episodes of the podcast every single week, and share the behind the scenes right here on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Also, if you enjoy this podcast and want to show your support, consider joining our Patreon community to support us on a monthly basis. You can check out all the details at patreon.com/Rustic Songbird. That's patreon.com/Rustic Songbird to become a patron today. Thanks again for watching, and make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.